What's going on, you guys? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel. I took a few days off, but we're back and ready to hit it hard over the next little bit as we go into 2021. Today, we're taking another look at a stock that you should probably be buying right now, which is Square. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why, and I'm going to give you an explanation why now it might be the best time to buy, seeing that the stock has dropped pretty significantly in the last couple of days. Let's jump right into things. So Square is a company that has those little readers chips that you see at a lot of small businesses. They process payments for a ton of different small businesses, and they are continuing to grow. They've absolutely exploded this year. This is a stock that I originally got in at $64, and right now I can only say, man, I wish I would have gotten in earlier. A couple things I want to talk about with this company, and then we're going to jump into the share price here on my computer. I'm going to show you some really fancy, I shouldn't say fancy, I'm just going to show you some really, coincidental maybe, perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's just my opinion, facts about what the share price has done and where I think it's going to go in the next little bit. Square is absolutely upending the industry that it's currently in. Look at a lot of other companies that have upended their own industries. Look at Netflix and what it did to the TV industry. Look at Tesla and what it did to the car industry. A lot of these companies are coming into the works and they're absolutely exploding and knocking a lot of these other players, down to the bottom of the list. A lot of these broadcast stations are at the very bottom of their industry now. A lot of the car companies are at the bottom of their industry now. I think Tesla's now worth more than the next top 10 car manufacturers out there, which is just absolutely crazy statistic. I do think that Square has the opportunity to be in that same space. Right now, Square is sitting just under $100 billion market cap with the recent price drop that we've seen in their share price, but I will not be surprised when that climbs again above $100 billion and then goes beyond that. Some of the things that I really like about Square is not only are they disrupting the current industry that they're in, but they're also exploding into the small business industry here in America. Small businesses run America. A lot of people look at this and say, hey, I think corporations are kind of the driver behind a lot of American industries, but in reality, small businesses really run a large portion of the American industry. So the American GDP, I should say. So looking at the fact that Square has the inside scoop on what a lot of these small businesses are doing, because they provided a better way for these companies to collect payments and then also to charge consumers and just kind of build an all-around platform that really works for these small businesses. There's over 30 million small businesses in America, at least, there was before this pandemic. I'm sure there's going to be a lot less, unfortunately, going into the future, but I think a lot of these will come back. A lot of these will open up new restaurants or new businesses as other things shut down and, things shift around. So if we're planning on roughly 30 million small businesses here in America, that gives Square a huge market opportunity to break into, to be able to process payments for these people, but also to collect payments on the consumer side as well. That leads me right into the next point that I want to make, is that Square has the ability to not only collect transactional revenue on the business side, but also on the consumer side through their Cash App and through some other ancillary services that they have when people actually use the Square platform. They have access to both ends of the transaction, and this gives them the opportunity to capitalize massively here in their industry. The last thing I want to talk about before we jump into the stock price here on my computer is I want to talk about Square Capital. Square Capital, I think, is going to be a major part of Square's business model because they've got access to the small businesses who are needing this capital, which is basically their small business loans, right? So they can say, hey, Mr. Small Business, you need a loan. They know exactly how much revenue that small business has coming in. They know exactly how many transactions they're doing. They know exactly what the margins are. They know a lot of that back-end information about the small business. And then Square can actually craft a loan that is specific to that small business that they feel has a good likelihood of being repaid. One of the things with loans that you have to worry about is the loan not being repaid or being refinanced or, going into default. And so I think that with Square's ability to look into the back-end revenue of that small business, I think they're going to have a better chance to craft loans at terms that actually work for that small business, and their Square Capital is going to be very successful. This is a stock that I've continued to buy up over the last little bit. As I mentioned, I first got in at roughly $65 a share, and I only wish I had bought more at that price, but I have nibbled in as it's gone up. I got a couple of shares in the 170 to 190 range, and then I also bought more shares today because I just want to continue nibbling into this stock, because I will not be surprised if this is another 2, 3, or 4x stock over the coming years. So with that being said, let's actually jump into my computer here. We're looking at the Webull platform, which, by the way, if you haven't gotten your free stocks with Webull, make sure to do that. When you open an account and deposit $100, you're going to get 4 free stocks valued up to at least $2,100, possibly even more. You can get over $1,000 stock on this promotion here. So make sure to get your stocks. It's at least a 21% return, so you really have no reason not to do this. But let's look at where the stock price is at today. Right now, it's sitting at roughly $210. It's down about 5.7% on the day, and it's down even worse over the last week or so. If we look at the stock And where it was on 12/22, a couple days before Christmas, it was actually sitting at, or it hit a high of 241, and then now it's dropped to 210. So this is almost, this is a little bit over a 10% drop. This is about a 12, maybe 13% drop. I'm just trying to do some quick math here in my head. But the interesting thing about this is that if we look back at the weekly chart here, and take a look at some of the previous pullbacks that it's had. Let's just go back to this one right here. You can see that we almost hit $200 a share. This is back in early November, and then it dropped here to roughly 180, 178. This is almost a 10% drop. If we come back here again and look at this, you can see that we had a share price in early October where we hit 187, and then it dropped back down to roughly 152, 153, maybe 155, exact numbers there. But again, you know, over a 10% drop before rebounding right back up. If we look back here, early or late August, we were at 155. It dropped down to about 140. Again, this is roughly a 10% drop. So these 10% drops with this company are not uncommon, and we're in this exact same situation. We've dropped over 10% in the last week, and I do expect this to kind of rebound and end up quite a bit higher. Would not be surprised to see this push up over the $250 mark as we go into early January. So that's just something that I'm kind of reading the chart. I'm just looking at strictly the chart pattern and what's happened to this company over the last little bit and how it reacts after we have these pullbacks. I would not be surprised that this company is sitting at roughly $100 billion market cap. Honestly, within the next couple of years, I would not be surprised to see this close in on $200 billion market cap, which means that we would be sitting on a share price of close to $400. It'd be over $400, actually about $420. And so some interesting insight there as to kind of what the stock price is doing. I think this could be a two banger over the next couple of years. I would say it's probably going to be 2 to 3 years by the time it hits that, but I would not be surprised to see it hit that in that time frame. So I'm super bullish on this company. I think they've got a lot going for them, and I think they're going to continue to disrupt the space that they're in. And I think now is the best opportunity to buy because they've seen such a major pullback. I would not be surprised to see them hit this, you know, again, this 235, 240 mark again here in the next week or two, to be totally honest with you. I think by early to mid-January, I would not be surprised to see them, trading at that 240 mark here again. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up here on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about money, stocks, and real estate. I talk about all that stuff here on the channel. Lately, I've been posting a ton about stocks, so if you want to follow along, I'd love to see you here on the journey. So make sure to subscribe, and also don't forget to check out my Patreon in the link down below. The first 20 people who jump into that are going to be getting OG access for just $1 per month, which is going to be the lowest it will ever be. You're going to get access to some of my exclusive content. I've got just some kind of random stuff in there, some stuff that's, some videos, kind of just thoughts from my mind and stuff on different topics that don't really qualify for a YouTube video, but I think it's actually really valuable information that you'll like. So if you're interested in that, make sure to go check out the Patreon. There'll be a link in the description for that as well. And I'm also going to be releasing some of my early stock pick trades and how I plan to play the market there and Patreon as well. As we get that built up, then I'll start releasing my full portfolio. You'll be able to get access to everything I have in there and everything that I do before I actually do it. So that's something I'm going to be offering on my Patreon. Go check that out. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.